All right. Top 3 waiver wire priorities. Boy, the first one's really tough. It's injury related, but Jamey, give me the top 3 priorities.
So for me, it's going to be still Jalen Wright 1, even though Devon Achane looked like he's going to be okay. Luther Burden is going to be 2. And then for 3, it's a little bit of a, I think, depending on what you need, because you might need a quarterback this week. We have a couple of tough situations with clearly some injuries, and then you're looking at, some matchups that are tough, Jacoby Brissett being one of them. But I also think when you look at the tight ends, it's not a bad idea to get another starter there. And Isaiah Likely taking on the Bengals. He's been very good, 6 targets each of the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to put Likely third. So the reason I still like Jalen Wright at the top is because while there's clearly, it sounds like there's no issues with Devon Achane playing this week, it's still a Monday night game. And if I'm the Devon Achane manager, I want to make sure I have Jalen Wright rostered just in case we get to the weekend and his ribs aren't feeling right, or they just want to make sure he's 100%, blah, blah, blah. You never know how these go. So I still want Jalen Wright on my team.
But if you're not the Achane manager, is Wright still the number 1 guy to get?
Well, I think there's again, we don't know how this is all going to play out. Pain tolerance is probably the biggest issue here, because it sounds like he could have gone back in the game. So would you want to have Jalen Wright on your team if he ends up starting this weekend?
I would, except the thing is, if I don't have Achane, or let's say Jalen Warren, somebody on this Monday night game, right, and I pick up Wright, we may not even know by Sunday when we have to set our lineups. I don't think it's a bad idea to get him. But it could obviously not work out. So you'll have to make the decision. If you have a bye this week, then you're probably not picking up Jalen Wright. And the latest is that Achane is feeling better. Does, as Jamey was saying, feeling like he's trending toward playing. Dave, who are your top 3?
Wright's not in there, but I agree with Jamey that if you've got Devon Achane on your team, you better go get him and make him a priority. I put the 49ers DST as my top ad. 51% available. If you can't get them, the Jaguars against Brady, Cook, and the Jets, it looks like it could be that. That's 48% available. Either one of those 2 DSTs, I would prioritize, assuming you don't have a stud DST already. Very few fantasy managers do. Then after that, it's Devin Singletary and Blake Corum, not with a lot of confidence. Both of those guys could put up double-digit PPR point numbers, and that would be great. And I believe that one of them, Singletary, has a good matchup this week. But we know he's going to be sharing with Tyrone Tracy. Blake Corum sharing, obviously, with Kyron Williams. I gave you 4. That's my top 3.
The best thing about the 49ers is now they get the Titans this week. They get the Colts with whatever quarterback situation is going to be there next week.
Might be the greatest quarterback ever.
Yeah, we're going to talk about week 16 for those of you who don't need anything for week 15. But you also could make a case, I guess you could make a case that Marcus Mariota would be one of the top priorities. He's got the Giants this week. In theory,
sure. Do you need a quarterback? And if you do, then Marcus Mariota would be at the top of the list, yes.
If not him, CJ Stroud.
Yes, that's a good top 2.
I mean, you think about quarterback, right? And there's 2 that I'll ask you about. There's Jacoby Brissett at Houston, and there's Mahomes facing the Chargers. You go look at Mahomes in tough matchups this year, and it hasn't been good except week 1 against the Chargers when he ran very successfully. So if you have Brissett or Mahomes, are you looking at Mariota or Stroud?
Brissett, yes. And I know he's been so consistent, over 20 fantasy points in 8 straight starts since taking over for Kyler Murray. But we've seen this Houston defense dismantle 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this season, in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And so it's hard to say that as good as Brissett has been, that he is going to be the one to solve this problem, this Houston problem. And I think volume is definitely going to be a big key for him. We talked about this on Express yesterday, Adam. Like the Texans offense doesn't do enough, at least they haven't so far this season, where the defense takes their foot off the gas late in games. And that makes it a problem for Brissett to just go out and say, okay, he's going to get some easy garbage time points. Now he can clearly get you. I think he's going to be 18 to 20. I don't think he's going to be a 12, 13, 14-point guy this week. I just think he throws the ball too much, that he'll find a way, even if it's a multiple interception game, to still be productive that you're not going to have a Jalen Hurts type game. That being said, I don't want to trust it when I think Mariota has proven also to be a pretty successful fantasy quarterback and has a great matchup. And CJ Stroud has a pretty good matchup as well. So it's a tough call. I have a lot of shares of Jacoby Brissett. I have one, I think, where I don't have him on a bye this week and have to play him. And I'm going to consider Mariota if he starts in place of Jane Dames.
I don't think there's anything wrong with adding Mariota or Stroud and then making the decision a little bit later in the week. You don't have to make the decision on Tuesday. You might have to make a decision on how to prioritize your waivers, but at least there's multiple quarterbacks, and there's more than just Mariota and Stroud. I mean, you can make the case for Shuck or Bryce Young or even J.J. McCarthy and Shadur Sanders, two guys that played better than expected this week. I wouldn't want to start them. I am not recommending them in 1 QB leagues, but I think if you've got Brissett and nothing else, at least get another quarterback so you have somebody to go to in the event that you get cold feet on Brissett.
Yeah. So, oh man, McCarthy with a good game and gets Dallas and the Giants in his next 2 games. It's pretty tough to pick him up. But anyway, sorry, was it? Brissett. You talked about them, the Texans doing great against the top against 2 of the great quarterbacks. How about this? The Texans this year have faced the top 3 quarterbacks in fantasy: Allen, Stafford, and Mahomes. Those 3 guys combined in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues, Allen, Stafford, and Mahomes combined for 28.2 fantasy points against the Texans.
It's insane.
5 quarterbacks scored more than that last week alone. So it's like you could see Brissett's done well against Green Bay. He's done well against Seattle. He's done well against the Rams. But Texans are
Colts when they were good.
He throws 45 times.
He does, but I looked into that too, and I don't mean to make this a start or sit Brissett thing, but it's a big decision, right? When does he throw? When did he not throw 40 or more times? It was a 27-17 win at Dallas and a 27-23 loss against Green Bay. He threw 36 passes. So they're probably not going to win this game, but they've had a few games where they've allowed about 27 points or 20 to 27 points, and he still threw 40 or more passes. So that's encouraging. The other 2 games where they didn't give up that many points, they didn't give up 30 or more, he threw 31 and 36 passes. So we can ballpark it. Probably going to throw 35 or more passes. I don't know if he's going to get to 40 this week, but he pretty much always does 6 out of 8 times. No, that can't be.
I would take the over.
If you're the Brissett manager, you get through this week.
Yeah,
because then it's Atlanta and Cincinnati. Like, it couldn't get any better.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right. So to recap, Jamey says Jalen Wright, Luther Burden, and Isaiah Likely. And Dave says the 49ers DST against Tennessee, Jacksonville DST against the Jets, Devin Singletary. We think Tyrone Tracy's going to be fine, but they've got Washington. They've been running the ball kind of a lot lately. And Blake Corum. And who was the 4th one you gave?
Well, the Niners and the Jaguars, one of those 2. I wouldn't get both of them.
Yeah, good call.
That's kind of silly. You don't need them both. But one of those DSTs plus Singletary plus Corum, and then if I put another name on there, now I'm giving you 5 names. Luther Burden would be next up, like Jamey had.